What's up guys, back again with the Paratek Pro Hub. Now this video is basically going to be covering the word modes. If you have the Paratek V7, it's very similar to that. There's not a lot changed, but there is another mode which I want to show you. Anyway, this is the word modes. To get into it, you just press and hold the button and you're greeted with word mode. You guys know how the word mode works. This works a little bit different. It's not using the random seeding from the analog pin anymore. It's actually using data from all the sensors. So the influences from all the sensors are ultimately going to influence the word that comes out. Now, let's be truthful. The words that come out are random. It doesn't matter what sensors do what. I've discovered over the years that, trying to create a generator that works based on sensor data, this, that, ultimately still works out as a random word. So it doesn't matter how fancy your device is still going to produce a random word. Random word mode, that is basically what we're going to call it, is it generates random words. You guys know how it works. Press and hold, enter. You can interrupt the scan by pressing the button, and it'll generate a word after the scan. Now, this is set to auto mode as well. You can change this in the settings as well. It's currently set to auto. You can have it manual. So manual mode basically means it will only generate a word, a scan, basically after you press the button. It won't automatically generate. This will do it between 30 and 120 seconds. So just leave it be. It'll continue work in the background. And basically, it picks a random time that it'll basically decide to force the scan. That's basically what it's doing. Force scan basically means you're basically activating yourself. Like if you press the button, it will force the scan when you want. Sometimes it produces multiple words. Sometimes it's just one word. It just depends on the result, basically. So that's that mode. Go back in here. And then we have Oracle mode. Now, Oracle mode is something very special that I've been working on. I've put a post up on Facebook exactly how this works with some of the code that how this basically works. So basically, what it's doing, it's basically it's very hard to explain in person how this works. You're probably best going looking at the post, but I'll try and break down what's happening. So basically, Oracle mode. I'll click in just to show you. It generates a sentence. Now that whole sentence is basically produced all by itself. Now what I mean by itself is all the words in the sentence were all picked basically on the sensor data. It has over 1,000 sentence structures, so it knows it has basically blueprints of how to create a sentence. It has over 1,000 of those, but the words in between, sometimes there's a full word like is, that's probably in the the blueprint already. So the blueprints are basically sentence constructors, but the words are not in those sentence constructors. Those are filled in after. It basically has little hash marks in between, and the program basically fills in those words based on themed nouns, proverbs, etc. I will do a video based on how this is exactly doing it, but I'll have to kind of show you. I don't have the program up to show you, but basically the output from this can be astronomically high. In fact, you could probably generate a sentence every second, and you'll probably be there for the next 1,000 years waiting for it to produce a repeat of what it already said. It's astronomically impossible to basically replicate another sentence from the same session. So basically that's that mode. It generates sentences, basically that's why it's called Oracle mode. So some of the sentences can mean something. It's not to say that that's paranormal or anything like that. It's just basically that was outputted by itself. So this does the word generation by itself. It's not like these sentences are predefined inside the code. They are technically, because the words already exist, but they only exist there as placeholders. So basically they're filled in as the program's generating, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's completely done by itself, which is something very new to generators. I don't believe there's any other generator on the planet that does this. So this is kind of a first of the the series of Oracle mode. Way back in the Paratek version 4, I think it was, Oracle mode, all the sentences were predefined, but this is completely doing it all by itself. Sometimes it's very cryptic, sometimes it's very funny, you know, but the outputs are random at the end of the day. Like I said before, even though it does do it through sensors and stuff like that, the outputs are all still going to be random at the end of the day. So let's leave it there. So go back. Sorry, it was in word modes. Should have stayed there. Word modes. So that the last one was Oracle we used. So we then go to Ouija mode. So Ouija mode attempts to spell a word based on the sensor reading. When you're seeing the scanning happening, it's actually taking environmental readings as it's scanning and is selecting letters or sounds as it's doing it. No, this is only picking letters. The phenome word works like that. Getting a little bit confused here. So there we go. It's printing out the words in real time based on sensor data. That's basically all it's doing. So sometimes it can partially match a word, so it's going to give you partial matches to words that are in the database already. Now, just to confirm, anything that comes up in the cyan color here is not in the built-in database. It's basically spelled this by itself. These words, the partial matches, are basically partial matches from the spelling that I produced. It's just an additional thing, just in case something came through that was partial. This will basically fill it in if it contains it in the database. So do it once again. There was no match there. And there's no match there. So that's how that works. Let's go into the next one. So Ouija mode, then we have phoneme mode. Now phoneme mode is very special in the way it almost works like Oracle mode. It has various ways of it that can build words through phonemes, sounds, basically the building blocks of human speech. So let me generate a result for you. So again, they will be very cryptic in relationship to an actual word. It's basically trying to build a word based on sounds, which is I'm sure you can appreciate is a very difficult task. So that's basically how that mode works. Phoneme mode. So yeah, you probably won't get any coherent words from it. That's obviously the way that it's built. So let's see what else we have. So we have the yes no mode. You guys know how that works. It's based on the sensor readings again. So this thing is constantly calibrating when it's working. I'll basically just show you so it's doing the scan, and I'll decide based on the sensor data whether it's a no or yes response. And it's a faster way to get yes no based sessions done. So I'm not going to go into too much depth how this word mode works. It's one of the more simpler modes. And then we have the 8-ball mode, which is going to generate 8-ball results. It's it's the way it is. It's going to generate a result every time you press a button, or wait until it generates. And again, it's using the sensor data to basically pick the result. It's it's not rocket science. It's the way it's built. And that's basically it. I think that's all the modes. Let me just go back and check. Yeah, that's all the word modes. If you watch my last video, there are the sensor modes, which I basically covered. So that basically shows you how that works. Next is going to be the customization. I'll go into depth on how to customize it, how to change the LED colors. You can have this a static color to match the display, or you can have a different color display and have the RGB effect. It's a lot of customization you can do to this. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. So I'm going to leave it there because it's already 10 minutes long again, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.